The morning sun filtered gently through the lace curtains of my veranda, casting long shadows across the wooden floor. Plano was quiet this time of day, the kind of silence that only small towns in Texas still carried like a secret. I sat in my usual chair, an old rocking one that creaked in rhythm with my memories, a mug of lukewarm coffee cupped in my hands. My name is Thomas Calder. I'm 68 years old and I've lived in this house for nearly half a century. Built it myself back when my back didn't ache and my hands weren't so weathered. I raised my family here, built my business from scratch and buried the love of my life here. At least, that's what it feels like. Claire. God, even saying her name makes my chest tighten. She's been gone 10 years now. Millionaire cancer. It was silently and then honest work that screams when paid its well too enough to late. For a decade, it's just been me and the house. At first, adoring echoing with her she was absence. That made you, but over time I came to cherish the stillness. Alina had the I could kind of still hear her spirit that made laughter people on the feel at wind ease at chimes. Introverted smell her perfume in the linen closet. Sunbeams we that spilled across the kitchen balanced out tiles. This house didn't just hold memories, it held her. My son Alex used to visit every weekend, every single one, no matter the workload, no matter the weather. Dad, you gotta get out more, he'd say, tapping his fingers on the porch railing. You can't just sit here talking to birds and ghosts. I'd smile and nod, but he didn't know how wrong he was. The birds listened, and the ghosts, they kept me company. Alex was my only child, the last living thread that connected me to Claire. Smart, passionate, always tinkering with something. He became an environmental consultant, following some spark Claire had lit in him when he was just a boy planting wildflowers in the backyard. He made me proud every single day. And when he met Vanessa, I thought maybe, just maybe, life was giving him a gift. Maybe even me too. Vanessa, the name used to mean something warm, hopeful, but now it tastes like vinegar in my mouth. She was beautiful, I'll give her that. Polished in that effortless way, always perfectly poised. I remember the first time I met her. She brought me herbal tea instead of coffee, smiled wide but never quite looked me in the eye. Such a charming little house, she'd said, her voice like silk stretched too tight. It must be hard keeping up with all this space at your age. It wasn't a question, it was a suggestion. Alex saw none of it. He was in love, blinding, reckless love. I kept my worries to myself. After all, wasn't it my job to let him live his life? So when they got married, I offered them a down payment for a home of their own. But Vanessa insisted. It's better for the planet if we share space. Besides, you shouldn't be alone, Thomas. So they moved in. And just like that, the house didn't feel like mine anymore. The incense came first, the smell of burning sage and something sharper always lingering in the air. Then came the crystals, the sudden rules. Thomas, can you keep the TV down? I'm meditating. Thomas, please don't vacuum during my yoga sessions. Thomas, try not to talk about the past so much. It's not healthy. She never raised her voice, never yelled, but everything about her screamed. Alex, bless him, tried to bridge the gap. She means well, he'd say, rubbing the back of his neck. She's just intense. But I saw the cracks forming, the quiet arguments behind closed doors, the tired way he rubbed his temples at dinner, the way he hugged me longer than usual like he was holding on to something slipping away. Then one day, everything shattered. Alex collapsed at work, heart attack, gone before he hit the floor. He was only 36. They say time stops when you lose a child. That's a lie. Time keeps going, it just doesn't take you with it. I stood at his funeral numb, watching the people cry, hug, whisper. Vanessa wore black and big sunglasses, didn't shed a tear, didn't speak to me once. She stayed close to some man I'd never seen before, her uncle, she said. Right. A week later, she knocked on my bedroom door. We need to talk, she said. Her voice was cold, her eyes colder. And that's when I realized. The house, my house, Claire's garden, Alex's childhood room, it was all on the line. That morning, rocking on the veranda, I looked out at the street and felt the weight of everything that had happened begin to press on me. But I didn't break. I couldn't, because something deep inside me had lit a fire, a flicker of anger, of purpose, a refusal to disappear quietly. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Alex met Vanessa at a climate rally in downtown Dallas. That's what he told me the night he first brought her up, over a plate of reheated meatloaf and 2 cans of beer. "Dad," he said, eyes practically glowing, "you wouldn't believe this woman. She's into sustainability, yoga, vegan food, and get this, she's spiritual without being preaky. She's amazing." I wanted to be happy for him. God knows I tried. What father doesn't want his son to find someone who lights up his world? But something in the way he said spiritual made my stomach twist. Claire had been spiritual too, but in a quiet way. Her prayers were whispers in the dark, not mantras blasted through Bluetooth speakers. Vanessa, she was different. The first time she came to visit, I cleaned the whole house top to bottom. Claire would have wanted it spotless for guests. I even laid out our old china, the one with the faded blue daisies along the rim. Vanessa walked in wearing a cream jumpsuit and carrying a mason jar filled with something green and pulpy. "This is a Machicale detox blend," she said, setting it on the table like a sacred offering. "It's for energy clearing. I thought it might help rebalance the space." She said it with a smile, but not the kind that reaches the soul. No, this one was calculated, perfectly polite, perfectly empty. Alex didn't seem to notice. He was busy showing her around the house like it was some boutique airbnb he'd just discovered. When he led her out to the garden, I followed at a distance, watching. "It's beautiful," she said, trailing her fingers along Claire's rose bushes. "A little, overgrown but with potential." Overgrown? My Claire used to spend every Saturday in that garden. Those roses weren't just plants, they were memory. Love, sweat, years of patience. But to Vanessa they were clutter, in the way. She turned to me suddenly and said, "It must be a lot for you to manage on your own, Thomas. Have you ever considered moving somewhere smaller? Maybe a place without so many reminders." The word hit me like a slap. Reminders. My son stood beside her, oblivious. They left that night after dinner, and I remember washing the dishes with shaking hands. It wasn't anything she did exactly. It was everything she didn't do, the lack of warmth, the undercurrents. The way she looked around like she was assessing value, not making memories. Still, when they announced their engagement a few months later, I congratulated them with a smile. When they invited me to their small wedding in the botanical gardens, I dressed in my best suit and gave them a check big enough to buy a starter home. "Dad," Alex had said, overwhelmed, "this is too much." I shrugged. "You're starting your life. I want you to be secure." Vanessa's eyes glittered when she saw the check, and something inside me, some ancient instinct, winced. But instead of buying their own place, Vanessa proposed they move in with me. "It's more eco-conscious," she explained with a bright laugh. "Besides, you shouldn't be alone. We'd be helping each other." Alex loved the idea. He thought it was practical. I thought it was strange. But I said yes. Because that's what parents do, isn't it? We make space, even when our guts scream not to. The first few weeks weren't awful. Vanessa made herbal teas and lit incense that made the whole house smell like a hippie shop, but she smiled when she did it. She even cooked a few nights, though the meals were mostly raw vegetables and something she called activated lentils. Then the rule started. "Thomas, I need silence from 6 to 8 a.m. for meditation." "Thomas, please keep the blinds halfway open for optimal light energy." "Thomas, I've reorganized the pantry to flow better with Ayurvedic principles." Bit by bit my life started shrinking. My chair was suddenly bad for her posture, so it got moved. My books were collecting dust energy, so they went into storage. She never asked. She just did. And every time I opened my mouth to say something, I looked at Alex, so happy, so relaxed, and swallowed it down. Until one evening, I came home from a walk to find her on the phone in the backyard. She didn't see me right away. She was pacing near the roses, her voice low, sharp. "No, he's still here. I know it's frustrating, but the house is in Alex's name now, so once, things fall into place, I can finally breathe." She laughed softly, coldly. "Yeah, I've looked into senior living. A little push and he'll go." My heart dropped. I didn't make a sound, just backed away and sat on the porch until she came in and smiled like nothing had happened. That night I stared at the ceiling, sleep impossible. Claire would have known what to do. She would have seen right through Vanessa from the start. But me, I was starting to realize I hadn't just let a stranger into my home. I'd handed her the keys, and she was already looking for ways to lock me out. It was still my house, on paper anyway. But day by day, I began to feel like a guest in my own home. The changes didn't happen all at once. That's what made them dangerous. It was in the little things. Vanessa's throw pillows appearing on my couch, my coffee mugs replaced with ceramic chakra alignment cups, the smell of patchouli and clove taking over the hallway. She wasn't rude. No, she was careful, precise. Always polite, always smiling, but with eyes that weighed every word I said, every move I made. "Thomas, could you not watch TV so loud in the mornings? I'm teaching a virtual yoga session." "Thomas, do you mind not using the oven while I prep my raw food meal plan? The heat ruins the enzymes." "Thomas, I think it might be healthier for everyone if we started using nonverbal communication during meal times. Just sit in presence." Nonverbal communication. I nearly choked on my stew. But every time I looked to Alex for backup, he was either nodding along or absent, working late, doing volunteer cleanups, traveling for conferences. When he was home, she draped herself over him like ivy, whispered in his ear, laughed a little too loud when I was around, and slowly I stopped entering the living room. I stopped opening the fridge after 6 p.m. I stopped speaking much during dinner. I wasn't kicked out. I was erased. And I let it happen because I loved my son, because I believed she would never cross a certain line. Then came the conversation. It was late, maybe 10 p.m. I just returned from an evening walk. The air was crisp. Fall was settling in. I found Alex in the kitchen alone, staring at a cup of untouched tea. "Dad," he said without turning, "can we talk?" I said. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, tension in his shoulders. "Are you okay?" I hesitated. "You tell me." He exhaled through his nose. "Vanessa says you've been distant, uncomfortable." I laughed softly. "You think?" He looked at me then, really looked. For a second, he was that little boy again, the one who used to crawl into bed with me during thunderstorms. "Have things really gotten that bad?" I nodded. "I don't want you to feel like a stranger in your own home," he said. "This is your place. You built it. You raised me here. But you also signed it over to me." That part stung. He didn't say it like a threat, just a fact. A reminder of how I'd willingly given up my claim to the one place that meant everything to me. When he first got married, I thought giving him the house was the right thing. Let them build a future, I told myself. Let them feel secure. So I transferred the deed with the one condition: I'd live here until the end of my days. But now, sitting across from my son, I began to wonder, had I sealed my own fate? "Dad," he said gently, "you know I'll always protect you." I forced a smile. "I know." He meant it. I could see it in his eyes. But he wasn't the one I had to worry about. After that, I started locking my bedroom door at night. I started writing things down, dates, events, Vanessa's comments. I didn't know why, but something told me I'd need it someday. Then came the breaking point. One morning, Vanessa stood in the doorway to the kitchen, holding a steaming mug of something green. "You know," she said casually, "Alex and I have been talking. This space doesn't flow the way it used to." I didn't respond. "We're thinking about renovating, expanding the meditation area, maybe converting your room into a quiet healing space." "My room." She said it like it was just another wall, just another piece of furniture to be rearranged. "You'd still have a place here," she added quickly. "We could set you up in the guest room, or perhaps explore some independent living options nearby. There's a lovely senior complex just outside town." I stared at her, not in shock but in clarity. There it was. The line. Crossed. Without hesitation, without shame. I didn't say a word, just turned and left the room. I walked out to the porch and sat in Claire's chair, gripping the wooden arms until my knuckles turned white. This wasn't about space or flow or wellness. This was about erasing the last trace of a man she never wanted in the first place. And I realized I'd been a fool. She was never going to stop. Not until I was gone. It happened on a Tuesday. Ordinary, bland, forgettable, until it wasn't. I was trimming the hedges, something Claire used to love watching me do. The air smelled like cut grass and jasmine. Then the phone rang inside the house. At first I ignored it. But it kept ringing. Something about the sound, sharp, persistent, wrong, made my chest tighten. I shuffled inside, wiping my hands on my jeans, and answered. "Mr. Calder," said a voice, male, calm, too calm. "Yes. This is Officer Ramirez from the Dallas PD. I'm very sorry to inform you, your son, Alex Calder, passed away this morning." I stopped breathing. "Sir," the voice continued. "Passed away," I whispered, barely able to say the words. "From what?" "Heart attack. He collapsed at work. EMS tried to resuscitate him, but he didn't make it." There's a silence that comes with grief. Not quiet, not peaceful. A silence so loud it roars through your bones. I don't remember hanging up. I don't remember falling to the floor. I don't remember the neighbor finding me 2 hours later, crumpled by the phone with my mouth open in a silent scream. They say there's nothing worse than losing a child. I used to think that was just something people said. Something you tell grieving parents so they know you're trying. But now I knew. It's not just loss. It's obliteration. Everything I had left of Claire was gone. The boy we raised, the man we were proud of, the son who hugged me longer than he should have every time he left. Gone, just like that. The funeral was surreal. Vanessa wore black, of course. A silk dress too elegant for grief, paired with sunglasses she never once took off, not even in the church. She didn't speak, didn't cry, didn't sit next to me. Instead, she stayed with 2 people I'd never met before, her sister, and a cold-eyed man she introduced as her uncle. They looked more like lawyers than family. Everyone spoke about Alex, his generosity, his passion, his brilliance. I sat in the front pew like a ghost, the only sound in my head the echo of his laughter from years ago. After the burial, people gathered at the house. My house, our house. Vanessa floated through the rooms like a hostess at a charity gala, accepting condolences, smiling softly, but never once looking my way. Not once. I sat in the corner, surrounded by Alex's photos, and felt like an intruder. A week passed. I barely left my room. Food didn't matter, time didn't matter, nothing mattered. Then she knocked. Not a soft knock. 3 sharp raps. I opened the door and there she stood, arms crossed, no makeup, hair tied back in a tight knot. "We need to talk," she said. For the first time, she didn't call me Thomas. She called me Earl. Cold, formal, final. "Sure," I said, stepping aside. She didn't sit. "I think it's time you found another place to live." It didn't register at first. "Excuse me." "The house is mine now," she said, voice flat. "As Alex's wife. Legally, I'm the sole heir and I need space. You need to move out." I blinked, feeling the air suck out of the room. "We just buried my son. And life goes on," she snapped. "This arrangement doesn't work for me anymore." I tried to stay calm. "I have a life estate. It was a legal condition when I transferred the deed." Her lip curled. "That's no longer valid," I checked. "You can fight it in court, sure, but it'll be expensive, long, and messy. I can make your life very unpleasant if you stay." My hands trembled. "This was Alex's house," I said softly. "His childhood, his mother's garden, his—" "It's my house now," she interrupted, "and you have 1 week to leave." With that, she turned and walked away. 1 week. She was giving me 7 days to abandon the life I'd built, the memories I cherished, the last place where Claire and Alex still lived in some way. I sat on the edge of my bed, heart hammering, hands numb. What kind of person delivers an eviction notice over their husband's fresh grave? What kind of monster? No, I wouldn't give in. I might be old. I might be tired. But I was still here. And Alex hadn't left me empty-handed. I couldn't sleep that night, not a second. I lay on my back, staring at the cracks in the ceiling I painted 20 years ago with Claire. The same ceiling Alex used to lie under, tracing imaginary constellations with his little fingers. But now he was gone. And the woman he loved, the woman who stood beside his casket without shedding a tear, wanted me gone too. By morning, something inside me had shifted. The grief hadn't lessened. It never would. But something had ignited beneath it, a spark I hadn't felt in years. Resolve. I got up quietly, not to alert Vanessa, and began packing the most precious things. Family photos, Claire's old jewelry box, the watch Alex gave me for my 60th, letters, postcards, one hand-carved birdhouse Alex built when he was 12. And then I opened the bottom drawer of my dresser, one I hadn't touched in months. There, beneath a stack of old tax forms and photo albums, was Claire's faded jewelry box. I hadn't opened it since the day she died. But this time, something told me to look. And that's when I saw it. An envelope, plain, yellowing, tucked just beneath the velvet lining. On the front, my name. "Dad, open if necessary." It was Alex's handwriting. My heart stopped. My hands trembled as I slid my finger under the seal and unfolded the single sheet of paper inside. His voice filled my mind before I even read the words. "Dad, if you're reading this, something's gone wrong. I hope you never need this letter. I hope I get the chance to tell you all of this face to face, but just in case, you need to talk to Wilton Paxton. He's our old family attorney. You remember him. I've made some legal arrangements with him. He'll explain everything. I don't know what Vanessa's going to do, but I need to know you're protected. No matter what happens, I love you. Alex." I sat motionless for minutes, staring at the signature. Tears blurred the ink. Wilton, God, I hadn't seen the man in years. He was the one who helped me form my contracting business, helped draft Claire's will, and even handled the paperwork when I signed over the house. If Alex went to him, that meant he knew. He knew something was wrong. That afternoon, I called Wilton. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Earl," he said, "I was going to call you." His voice cracked with familiarity but also urgency. "I found a letter," I said, "from Alex. He told me to contact you." A pause. "Then it's time," Wilton said softly. "Can you come to my office?" What? An hour later, I stepped into the old 2-story red brick building downtown. Wilton's receptionist, a kindly woman named Doris who used to bring Alex lollipops as a kid, gave me a tight smile and waved me into his office. Wilton stood as I entered. He looked older, grayer, heavier, but his handshake was still firm. I'm sorry, he said immediately. Alex was special. I nodded. You said he came to see you. Wilton walked around his desk, pulled open a drawer, and laid a manila folder on the table. He came to me about 6 weeks ago, he said. Told me things weren't right at home, that he was worried. My throat tightened. He asked me to reverse the deed, Wilton continued, to legally transfer the house back to you. I blinked. He what? Wilton slid the folder toward me. Inside were legal documents, signed, notarized, dated. The house deed now listed Thomas Calder as the rightful owner. He said it was a precaution, Wilton said. He didn't give full details, just that things were falling apart in his marriage, and he needed to make sure you were protected no matter what happened. I stared at the signature, Alex's name, bold and confident in black ink. He didn't tell me any of this, I whispered. He wanted to, Wilton replied, but he also wanted to do it cleanly, legally, without drama. Said he'd explain it to you when the time was right. The room blurred again, this time not from grief, from gratitude. Even as his own world was crumbling, Alex had thought of me. He'd made sure I wasn't left at the mercy of the woman who now treated me like a squatter. He left something else, Wilton added, a video message for you, in case he couldn't explain it himself. He pulled out a USB stick and handed it to me. You can watch it here if you're ready. I wasn't, but I had to. Wilton inserted the drive and turned his monitor toward me. And there he was. Alex, tired, pale, but his eyes still held that steady calm he'd had since he was a kid. Hey, Dad, the video began. If you're watching this, it means I didn't get to tell you everything in person, and I'm sorry. He looked down, ran a hand through his hair, the same gesture he always did when nervous. I made a mistake. I married the wrong person. I didn't want to see it at first, but it became clearer with time, especially in the way she treated you. That was the last straw. He paused. I overheard Vanessa talking to her sister, saying that once I was gone, she'd throw you into a nursing home, that she was tired of the old man taking up space. She laughed, Dad. She laughed about it. So I did what I had to do. I started divorce proceedings, quietly, and I signed the house back over to you. Wilton has all the papers. His voice cracked then. I didn't want to worry you. You've been through enough, but I couldn't leave you vulnerable. I love you, Dad, always have, always will, and I hope wherever I am now, this helps make things right. The video ended. I couldn't move. Wilton sat silently while I wiped my eyes. Everything's in order, he said. Legally, the house is yours again. Vanessa can't contest it, unless... Unless what? Unless she tries something underhanded. Slander, fraud, public pressure, but we're ready. If she tries to push back, we fight. I'll represent you. I stood. My legs were shaky, but my spine had never been straighter. She gave me 1 week, I said. 1 week to leave my own house. Wilton smiled grimly. Then maybe we should give her a surprise. When I walked back into the house that evening, something had changed inside me. The grief was still there. It would always be there. But now it had a companion, purpose. Vanessa was sitting in the living room, flipping through a home design magazine like she didn't just try to evict me 7 days after burying her husband. She looked up. Did you start packing? I sat down across from her, placing the deed folder on the table between us. No, I said evenly, I'm not going anywhere. Her lips curled. We've already talked about this, Thomas. I cut her off. The house belongs to me, again. She frowned. Excuse me. I opened the folder and slid the notarized document toward her. Alex signed the deed back to me 6 weeks ago, legally, fully authorized, with witnesses. She picked it up and read. Her face changed slowly, confusion, disbelief, then panic. This is fake, she snapped. Alex would never. There's also a video. He explained why. You should watch it sometime. He mentioned you by name. She shot to her feet. You manipulated him. He was under stress. He wasn't thinking clearly. No, Vanessa, I said quietly. He was thinking clearly for the first time in a long time. He saw you, the real you. She stared at me like a predator, breathing hard. You're not keeping this house, she hissed. I'll sue. I'll prove you pressured him. You're welcome to try, I said calmly. But you should know he had a full medical evaluation the day he signed it. Clear mind, sound judgment. There are witnesses, lawyers, evidence, and now, this is my home again. She threw the documents at me, stormed out, and slammed the door so hard a picture frame rattled off the shelf. I caught it midair. It was of Alex, smiling happy. You did good, son, I whispered. That night the war began. It started with the phone calls. Neighbors, church members, even a few old friends. Thomas were hearing rumors that you forced Alex to sign over the house, that you threatened him. Vanessa says you were unstable, controlling. She's going around saying you forged legal documents after his death. It was a smear campaign, a calculated one. She was poisoning the town against me before the court ever got involved. I tried to explain calmly, again and again. Some believed me. Others didn't. But by the fourth day, I received a letter from a law firm, Sterling, Bronson and Associates. They were officially representing Vanessa, and she was suing to overturn the deed, claiming Alex had signed under duress, that he was mentally unfit, that I was emotionally abusive. I took the letter straight to Wilton. He barely blinked. Expected this, he said. She's got nothing, but we need to prepare for court, and Earl, we need evidence, anything you've got. So I went digging. Into the past. Into my son's life. Alex's office had been left untouched since his death. Books on environmental policy, sustainability, his favorite landscape photos, a model of a river basin he'd been working on, his favorite pen still resting on the notepad. I opened the desk drawers. The top ones had nothing but bills and paper clips. Then in the bottom drawer, locked, I found a leather notebook. A journal. I hesitated. This felt sacred, like trespassing. But Wilton's words echoed in my mind. We need to show the court who she really is. I opened it. The first entries were simple: work stress, project delays, traffic complaints. Mentions of Vanessa here and there, nothing alarming. But the closer the entries got to the present, the more intense they became. Vanessa took $3,000 from our joint account. Said it was for yoga certification, but I tracked it. She transferred it to some guy named Gabriel. Who the hell is Gabriel? She says Dad's energy is stale, that he's a burden. I caught her whispering about retirement homes. Heard her say to her sister, once Alex is gone, the house is mine and the old man goes with it. Why does she talk like I'm already dead? I'm scared for Dad. I think she's trying to wear him down, maybe even force him out. The last entry was dated the day he visited Wilton. Signed the house back to Dad. It's the only way to protect him. I sat there with the book in my lap, heart pounding. It wasn't just a diary. It was a record of betrayal, of fear, of love. A defense in ink. I called Rory, the friend Alex had mentioned many times. He remembered me immediately. Mr. Calder, I'm so sorry for your loss. Alex was one of the best. I need to ask you something, I said. Did Alex talk to you about Vanessa, about the last few months? A pause. Yes, he said carefully. He confided in me. Would you be willing to testify to that? Anything for Alex. He was my best friend. He told me about the fights, the money, the phone calls to lawyers, the fears Alex had voiced about me, about Vanessa targeting me after the divorce. He was trying to protect you, Rory said. That's why he acted before telling her. He didn't trust her anymore. Later that night, I found one more thing. Inside the back pocket of Alex's journal, hidden behind a flap of leather, was a small flash drive. Labeled Evidence A. I inserted it into his computer. Inside folders, bank statements showing transfers from Alex's account to Gabriel Nook. Screenshots of text messages between Vanessa and Gabriel, some romantic, some disturbingly strategic. Audio recordings, Vanessa's voice clearly mocking me, planning, plotting. And photos grainy but unmistakable Vanessa and Gabriel together, in a hotel, a seminar holding hands. I copied everything and called Wilton. "I've got it," I said, "proof, all of it." His voice was calm, but I could hear the fire in it. "Bring it in tomorrow." As I sat on the porch that night, the wind rustling the leaves of Claire's roses, I felt the weight of grief slightly lift. Because now I had a mission. Not revenge. Justice. For my son. For my home. For the truth. The courthouse was cold and sterile, a far cry from the warmth of the porch where I spent mornings with Claire and Alex. As Wilton and I entered, I felt a mix of fear and determination. Today was the first day of the fight to reclaim what was rightfully mine. Phoebe, no, Vanessa, sat across the room with her lawyers, dressed in a sharp black suit and wearing an expression of false innocence. She didn't look at me once. The room buzzed with whispered speculation, some sympathetic, some doubtful. The judge, a stern man with piercing eyes, called the session to order. Phoebe's lawyer opened with a story. My son, overwhelmed by stress and depression, was manipulated by me into signing over the house. He claimed I had exploited Alex's fragile mental state, painting me as a controlling father abusing his dying son. Every word was a lie. My heart thundered in my chest, anger threatening to break free, but Wilton placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. Our turn came. Wilton called the first witness, Dr. Oliver Verwick, Alex's longtime family physician. The doctor's testimony was clear and firm. Alex was in excellent mental and physical health when he signed the deed. No signs of depression or medication affecting his judgment. Next came Rory Balcom, Alex's closest friend and colleague. Rory described Alex's growing concern over Vanessa's betrayal, the secret divorce plans, and the decision to protect me by transferring the house back. Wilton presented Alex's diary, which detailed Vanessa's infidelity and financial fraud, and her plans to evict me. Phoebe's lawyers tried to undermine Rory's credibility, calling him a biased friend, but his calm and honest answers held strong. Then it was my turn. Sitting on the witness stand, I recounted the love I had for my son and the shock of his death, the gradual estrangement caused by Vanessa, and the discovery of the diary and flash drive. I denied any pressure on Alex to sign the deed, stating it was his choice alone to protect me. Wilton presented the evidence: the notarized deed, video messages from Alex explaining his decision, and recordings exposing Vanessa's true nature. The courtroom was silent. Even Phoebe's lawyers looked shaken. The judge carefully reviewed all documents, the diary, and the video. He allowed all as valid evidence. Despite attempts by Phoebe's lawyer to twist facts and paint me as manipulative, the truth was clear. When Wilton called the final witness, the technician who installed the security cameras, I felt a new hope. The cameras captured Phoebe trying to break in, searching Alex's office for the diary and flash drive. That footage would be crucial. After the session ended, Phoebe shot me a venomous look and left with her lawyers. Wilton squeezed my hand. That went better than expected. The judge sees the truth. I nodded, exhausted but relieved. The fight was far from over, but for the first time in months, I felt like I wasn't alone. Alex was still with me, his love and courage guiding every step. The days between court sessions crawled by like an endless desert. Each morning I woke with a mix of hope and dread, wondering what new tactic Vanessa would try, what lies she'd spin. But the truth was on our side, and that truth was stronger than any whisper. On the morning of the final hearing, Wilton arrived early to review our materials. He said, "This is it, Earl. The break-in footage is our ace in the hole. It proves everything." I felt a quiet strength rise within me as we drove to the courthouse together. The autumn sun cast long shadows, golden light reflecting off the courthouse windows. A new season, a new beginning. Phoebe arrived with a new legal team, young, sharp, but already tense. When the session began, her attorney shocked us all with a motion to dismiss the case. She claimed to accept the validity of the deed on one condition, that I drop the trespassing charges. Wilton was quick to respond. "My client refuses any such deal. We want a full ruling." The judge agreed. Then Wilton called the technician, who installed the security cameras. The man testified clearly. Cameras installed 4 days before the break-in, footage encrypted and tamper-proof. The video played. The room fell silent as Phoebe was caught on camera picking the back door lock, rushing to Alex's study, rifling through papers and drawers in desperate search of the diary and flash drive. Her face was a mask of panic and rage. Wilton stated firmly, "This is proof of her bad faith, attempted destruction of evidence and criminal trespassing." Phoebe's lawyers faltered, requesting a recess to regroup. When the hearing resumed, Phoebe's team withdrew the lawsuit. She appeared defeated. The judge declared the deed valid, officially recognizing my ownership of the house. Court costs were awarded to me. As the gavel struck, the courtroom buzzed. Phoebe shot me one last furious look before storming out. Outside, neighbors and friends gathered to congratulate me, but my victory felt bittersweet. I had fought for my home, for my son's legacy, but no victory could fill the empty spaces left by loss. Back home, the house felt different, lighter, freed. Phoebe returned only once to collect her belongings, escorted by a bailiff. She didn't speak, just left. Months later, the house blossomed again, not with sorrow but with life. I converted the upstairs into apartments for students, young people with bright futures. Their laughter filled the rooms where silence had ruled. On quiet evenings, I'd sit on the veranda, looking at the stars Alex loved. "Thank you, son," I'd whisper to the night. "For protection, for love, for hope. And finally, for peace." The house I once feared losing became a beacon of new beginnings. After Phoebe left for good, I took back the reins of my life and of my home. The upstairs, once filled with silence and shadows, was transformed into 3 small apartments for local students. Young voices replaced the cold echoes. Kyle, an environmental science student passionate about cleaning the city's lake, moved in first. He reminded me so much of Alex, not in looks but in heart and purpose. Alicia, a quiet history major, and Vince, a scruffy but kind tech whiz, soon joined. They brought laughter, music, and light back into these walls. On weekends, they gathered on the veranda. I poured coffee, shared stories of Plano, and listened to their dreams. It felt like the house was breathing again. One afternoon, I received a letter from Rory. He had bumped into Phoebe in Austin, where she was planning a new spiritual center with her fiancé, Gabriel Nook. She seemed content, living a life where Alex never existed. It stung, but I understood. She lives her life, we live ours. And the memory of Alex remains with those who truly loved him. Every week I visit Alex's grave, wildflowers in hand. I talk to him as if he were there, telling him about the students, the renovations, the lake cleanup. "Your dream is alive, son," I whisper. And though the pain of loss never fully fades, I feel a lightness I hadn't known in years. A peace, a purpose, thanks to him, thanks to love. The night air was cool and still as I sat on the veranda, cradling a warm cup of coffee between my hands. Above me, the stars twinkled like old friends, silent witnesses to the years of love, loss, and renewal that had shaped this life. I thought about Alex, his laughter, his dreams, the fierce kindness in his eyes. I thought about Claire, her gentle spirit woven through every corner of this home. And I thought about myself, a man who had lost so much, yet somehow found a way to carry on. That night, for the first time in what felt like forever, sleep came easy. No nightmares chased me, no haunting memories stole my breath. Instead, I dreamed. I dreamed of Alex standing by a calm lake, fishing rod in hand, the sun setting behind him in a blaze of gold and pink. He turned to me with that familiar smile and said, "That's right, Dad. It's just the way it's supposed to be." When I woke, a gentle peace settled in my chest. Life's twists and turns, its heartbreaks and joys, they had brought me here. To a place of hope. To a place of love. And though the pain of losing my son would never fully fade, I knew I was ready. Ready to live again. For Alex. For Claire. For myself. The house was no longer just a building of bricks and memories. It was a home filled with laughter, with dreams, with life. And so was I. The dawn broke gently, spilling soft light through the curtains of my room. I rose slowly, the weight of years settling on my shoulders but tempered by a quiet strength that had taken root deep inside me. For so long, I had been trapped between grief and anger, loss and helplessness. But now, as I walked through the garden where Claire's roses bloomed fiercely despite the passage of time, I felt something new, a sense of purpose. I thought back to Alex, how he had always dreamed bigger than this small town, how he believed that one person could make a difference. That belief was still alive. It lived on in the lake cleanup project Kyle was leading, in the laughter of the young students upstairs, in every careful stroke of paint on the walls of those apartments I had helped create. It was strange, almost miraculous, how life could twist and turn. From the depths of despair to the light of new beginnings. From the cold silence of a house emptied by death and betrayal to a home humming with energy, ideas, and hope. Some evenings, when the sun sank low and painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, I sit on the veranda and watch the stars come out one by one. I whisper stories to Alex, stories of the day's little triumphs and the quiet moments of beauty that make life worth living. There are nights when the memories catch me off guard, a laugh, a glance, the warmth of a hand. I close my eyes and feel them as if they were still here, guiding me gently forward. And in those moments I understand. Loss never truly ends. It changes shape. It becomes part of us, a layer beneath the skin. But it doesn't have to stop us from moving forward, from loving again, from living. This house, our home, has become a symbol, not just of what was lost, but of what remains. Of resilience. Of love. Of hope. And so, as I close my eyes at night, I carry Alex's smile with me. His last gift wasn't just the papers or the deed. It was the strength to fight, the courage to believe in tomorrow. And for that, I will be forever grateful. The students brought new energy to the house, filling the rooms with laughter, ideas, and dreams. Each day I found myself drawn into their lives, offering advice when asked, sharing stories of the past, and sometimes just sitting quietly as they talked about their hopes for the future. It was strange at first, this blending of generations under one roof, but it soon became a comforting rhythm. Their youthful enthusiasm reignited a spark in me that I thought had long been extinguished. Kyle, with his unwavering dedication to environmental causes, often reminded me of Alex's passion. Watching him organize community cleanups and speaking about preserving the planet, I saw the same fire in his eyes that my son had. Alicia and Vince brought their own colors to the tapestry of our home. Alicia's quiet strength and thoughtful nature, Vince's quick wit and technical savvy. Together, they created a space that was alive and vibrant, a sharp contrast to the silence that had once dominated these walls. The garden flourished anew. Claire's roses, which had once seemed fragile and delicate, grew stronger each season, their scent weaving through the air and mingling with the sounds of the bustling household. I took to tending the garden again, finding solace in the soil and the cycles of growth and renewal. Each bloom felt like a message, a reminder that life persisted, even after loss. At times, memories would wash over me, sharp and vivid. I'd catch a glimpse of Alex's smile in a student's face or hear a familiar phrase in their conversations. These moments were bittersweet, bringing both pain and comfort. They reminded me that though he was gone, Alex's spirit remained intertwined with this house and all who lived here. The nights were quieter now, but not empty. When the house settled and the students retreated to their rooms, I often found myself on the veranda, gazing at the stars. The vastness of the sky brought perspective, a humbling reminder of the fleeting nature of life and the enduring strength of love. I spoke softly into the night, sharing my thoughts and memories with Alex, feeling his presence in the gentle breeze. The community around me began to shift as well. Neighbors who had kept their distance during the turmoil started stopping by more often, bringing meals or just pausing for a friendly word. The church offered support, and old friends reached out to reconnect. It felt like a healing circle was closing around me, stitching together the torn fabric of my life. The legal battles became a distant memory, though their impact lingered. The victory was not just about reclaiming a house, it was about reclaiming dignity and honor. Vanessa's departure left a void that was slowly filled with warmth and hope. Though the scars remained, they became less a mark of pain and more a testament to resilience. I found new purpose in mentoring the students, sharing not only stories but lessons learned through years of struggle and perseverance. They inspired me as much as I hoped to inspire them. Together, we built more than a home. We built a community grounded in respect, understanding, and hope. Each morning, as sunlight poured into the kitchen and birdsong filled the air, I felt gratitude. Gratitude for the past that shaped me, for the present that sustained me, and for a future still unfolding with promise. Though the loss of Alex and Claire would always be a part of my story, it no longer defined the whole. Life had carved out a new path, one of healing, connection, and enduring love. And on this path, I walked forward with quiet strength, carrying their memories like a lantern lighting the way. Some days, the weight of the past would press heavily on my chest, and the quiet moments would be filled with memories too sharp to bear. I'd find myself wandering through the rooms, touching the walls where Alex once laughed, or sitting in his old chair, feeling the absence like a hollow ache. Yet those moments were balanced by the life that now thrived within these walls. The laughter from the kitchen, the excited chatter from the students as they planned their futures, and the gentle hum of new beginnings. I began to notice small changes within myself. The anger and bitterness that had once clouded my days gradually gave way to a quiet peace. It wasn't forgetting what I'd lost. It was learning to carry it differently, with grace and acceptance. The memories of Claire and Alex became less like chains and more like guiding stars, helping me navigate this new chapter. Sometimes I'd catch myself smiling unexpectedly when a student shared a success story, or when the roses bloomed brighter than the year before. It was as if life itself was reminding me that even after the darkest storms, the sun always finds a way to shine. The house, once a battleground, was now a sanctuary. It was filled with the stories of those who had walked its halls before me and those who now called it home. Every creak of the floorboards, every faded photograph, every scent of blooming flowers carried the weight of history and the promise of tomorrow. One afternoon, as the sun cast golden light through the windows, Kyle invited me to join a community meeting about the local river restoration project. Sitting among young activists, I realized how much I had grown, how much I still had to offer. Sharing stories of perseverance and hope, I felt connected not only to the past but to the future, an ongoing legacy that Alex had started and I was now a part of. Evenings spent on the veranda became moments of reflection and gratitude. I often spoke aloud to the night, telling Alex about the day's events, the challenges faced, and the victories won. Though he was gone, in these moments he felt near, his spirit woven into the very fabric of the home we shared. The seasons changed, each bringing new challenges and joys. Winters were quiet and contemplative, while springs burst forth with growth and renewal. I tended the garden with care, watching as the roses thrived and new flowers took root. The garden was no longer just a reminder of loss, but a living symbol of endurance and hope. Through it all, I learned that healing was not linear. Some days were harder than others. Some nights, grief whispered louder. But with each sunrise came the chance to embrace life again, to build new memories while honoring the old. In time, I came to understand that love, true love, never dies. It transforms, adapts, and endures beyond the limits of time and space. It lives in the hearts of those who remember and in the lives of those who carry its light forward. And so I continue. With every breath, with every step, with every smile shared in this house, I honor Claire, Alex, and the love that shaped us all. This home is no longer just a place. It is a testament to resilience, to hope, and to the enduring power of family. And as the stars shine overhead, I know I am not alone. I am surrounded by the love that once was and the love that still is, guiding me, comforting me, and lighting the way forward. In those quiet moments beneath the stars, I often found myself reflecting on the journey that brought me here, the pain endured, the battles fought, and the unexpected grace that followed. It was a path marked by loss, yes, but also by growth. Each hardship carved away the bitterness and left behind something stronger, a deep, unwavering resolve to live fully despite the scars. I began to open my heart in ways I hadn't thought possible after Claire and Alex left. The students, with their youthful hopes and unguarded enthusiasm, became a source of joy and renewal. Their presence filled the house with laughter and light, transforming what once was a place of sorrow into a vibrant home once again. Their stories, their dreams, reminded me that life moves forward, and with it, so must I. One evening, as I shared a cup of tea with Kyle, we talked long into the night about the future, his plans for environmental advocacy, my hopes for the house as a sanctuary for young minds. It was in these conversations that I rediscovered a purpose I thought lost forever. The house had become a bridge between generations, a place where memories honored the past but also embraced what lay ahead. Sometimes, when the sun dipped low and the world grew quiet, I wandered through the garden Claire had loved so dearly. The roses flourished, their fragrance carrying whispers of the past mingled with the promise of tomorrow. I knelt among them, hands in the soil, feeling connected to something larger than myself, life's endless cycle of growth, loss, and renewal. Though the pain of losing Alex and Claire remained, it softened with time, becoming a tender part of my soul rather than a wound that bled endlessly. I carried their memories like a gentle flame, a light to guide me through the dark, and in that light I found peace. The community around me also began to heal. Neighbors who had once been distant now stopped to chat, sharing stories or offering a helping hand. Old friends rekindled connections, reminding me that even in the depths of despair, bonds of love and friendship endure. The house, once a battleground, had become a home filled with hope. Its walls held stories of resilience and love, and every creak and corner whispered of second chances. It was more than bricks and mortar. It was a testament to the enduring spirit of family and the unbreakable bonds that tie us across time. Each day I walked forward carrying the legacy of those I loved. Their voices echoed in my heart, their love a steady anchor amid life's storms. And as the seasons changed, bringing with them new challenges and joys, I embraced the journey, grateful for the past, hopeful for the future, and at last truly at peace. The house became more than just a shelter. It transformed into a living, breathing testament to resilience and renewal. With every sunrise, the walls seemed to absorb the warmth of new beginnings, carrying the echoes of laughter and dreams shared by those who now called it home. The memories of Claire and Alex remained woven into its fabric, but they no longer weighed me down. Instead, they lifted me, reminding me that love endures beyond loss. I found comfort in small rituals, a morning cup of coffee on the veranda, tending the garden's blooms, sharing stories with the students. These moments grounded me, giving rhythm to the days and a gentle reminder that life in all its complexity goes on. The garden especially became my sanctuary, each petal and leaf a symbol of hope, growth, and the unyielding cycle of nature. Visitors often remarked on the change in me. Where once they might have seen sorrow and weariness, now they witnessed a quiet strength and calm determination. The trials had carved deep lines on my face, but also a newfound grace and wisdom. I had learned that healing is not about forgetting, but about embracing all that has been, carrying it forward with compassion and courage. As seasons turned, I watched the students flourish, each one chasing their dreams, making their mark on the world. Their energy was infectious, a vibrant force that reminded me that life's promise is always renewed in the hearts of the young. They brought joy back into the halls, transforming the house into a place of possibility and light. Though shadows of the past occasionally surfaced, they no longer defined my days. Instead, I chose to focus on the legacy left behind, the love shared, the lessons learned, and the future yet to unfold. Each evening, as twilight painted the sky, I felt a profound connection to those I had lost, knowing they lived on through the life still blooming around me. In this way, I found peace, not in forgetting or moving on, but in carrying their memory forward, honoring their spirit with every step I took. The house was no longer just a home, it was a beacon of hope, a sanctuary where love transcended time and where I could finally breathe again. And so, with a heart both heavy and light, I embraced each new day, grateful for the past, grounded in the present, and hopeful for the journey ahead. The years passed gently, marked by quiet mornings and soft evenings. Each day brought its own challenges and joys, but the sense of belonging I felt within those walls grew stronger. The house, once a symbol of loss and conflict, had become a refuge, not just for me but for all who stepped inside. I often found myself reflecting on how fragile life is, and yet how remarkably resilient the human spirit can be. The pain of losing Alex and Claire was always there, a shadow at the edge of my vision, but it no longer consumed me. Instead, it became a part of the tapestry of my life, a thread woven with love, sorrow, strength, and hope. Sometimes I would catch a glimpse of a student wearing Alex's favorite color or hear laughter that reminded me of Claire's gentle smile. Those moments were bittersweet, but also deeply comforting. They were reminders that life goes on, carrying pieces of those we've lost in new and unexpected ways. The community around me grew closer, strengthened by shared stories and support. Neighbors stopped by to share meals, offer a hand in the garden, or simply sit and talk. Old friends returned, bridging gaps time had created. In these connections, I found a new family, a circle of kindness and care that eased the loneliness I once felt. As the garden blossomed with each season, so too did my heart. I planted new flowers alongside Claire's roses, symbols of renewal and the endless cycle of life. The scent of jasmine and lilac filled the air, mingling with the laughter and voices of those who now called this place home. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, I sat on the veranda and thought about the journey that had brought me here. From the depths of grief and despair to this place of peace and purpose. It had been a long road, marked by hardship and heartache, but also by courage and love. I raised my glass to the twilight and whispered a quiet thanks to Alex, to Claire, and to the life that had taught me how to heal. And with that, I looked ahead, ready to embrace whatever tomorrow might bring, carrying their memory with me every step of the way. Time continued its steady march, weaving new threads into the fabric of my life. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the house stood as a silent witness to it all, joys and sorrows, beginnings and endings. I learned to cherish the simple pleasures, the feel of warm sunlight on my skin, the gentle rustling of leaves in the evening breeze, the quiet hum of life unfolding around me. The students became more than tenants. They were companions, family even. Their dreams fueled my own spirit, reminding me that legacy isn't only about what we leave behind, but also about the lives we touch along the way. I found myself mentoring them, sharing stories of resilience and hope, watching with pride as they navigated their own paths. Sometimes, when the weight of loss pressed heavily, I would retreat to the garden. Kneeling among the blooms, I would run my fingers over the petals, feeling a connection that transcended time. The roses, steadfast and blooming anew each year, became symbols of endurance, proof that even after harsh winters, life finds a way. Neighbors often stopped by, bringing news or a helping hand. The community, once distant during the hardest times, had come together in a way that warmed my heart. I realized that healing is never a solitary journey. It's woven through relationships, kindness, and shared experiences. On quiet nights, beneath a sky thick with stars, I spoke softly to the memories of Claire and Alex. Their presence lingered like a gentle breeze, comforting, guiding, unbroken by the passage of years. And in those moments I felt an unshakable peace. Life had taught me many lessons, that grief and love can coexist, that loss can carve space for new beginnings, and that hope is a flame worth nurturing. This house, our home, stood as a testament to those truths. With each sunrise I stepped forward, carrying the past with me, but not bound by it. The future was uncertain, as it always is, but I faced it with an open heart, ready to embrace whatever life had in store. And through it all, I knew that love, enduring, unyielding love, would light the way. The seasons turned again, and with each cycle the house grew warmer, more alive. The laughter of the students echoed through the halls, their voices weaving new memories alongside the old. I watched them pursue their dreams, their energy rekindling a joy in me I thought had long faded. Their successes, small and large, became shared victories, proof that life's tapestry is ever expanding, filled with threads of hope and renewal. I found myself embracing routines I once took for granted, mornings spent tending the garden, afternoons walking through town exchanging greetings, evenings resting on the veranda under the vast, star-studded sky. Each act, simple yet profound, was a step forward, a choice to live fully despite the shadows of the past. Sometimes I caught glimpses of Alex in their smiles or heard echoes of Claire in the gentlest breeze. These moments, though tinged with sadness, brought comfort. They were reminders that those we love never truly leave us. They remain in the spaces they touched, the hearts they shaped. The community around me continued to heal and grow, and so did I. Old wounds softened, replaced by gratitude for the love that remained and the new connections forged. I welcomed neighbors' visits, shared stories by the fire, and found solace in the simple act of belonging. Through it all, I learned that life's greatest strength lies in its fragility, how loss can deepen love, how endings give birth to beginnings. The house, once a monument to sorrow, had become a sanctuary of hope, resilience, and enduring family. And as I sat beneath the endless sky, the stars shining bright like beacons, I knew this was not an ending, but a new chapter. One written not just in memories, but in every breath taken, every hand held, and every heart open to love. With that thought, I closed my eyes and smiled, ready to embrace whatever tomorrow might bring. The days continued to unfold gently, each one a small gift wrapped in routine and quiet moments. I found joy in the ordinary, the way sunlight danced through the leaves in the garden, the soft murmur of voices drifting from the kitchen, the steady rhythm of the seasons changing outside my window. Life had settled into a new normal, one shaped by loss but also by healing. The students became like family, their hopes and struggles reminding me that every generation carries its own burdens and dreams. I listened to their stories with renewed empathy, offering guidance when I could, but mostly learning from their courage and optimism. They filled the house with energy and purpose, softening the edges of loneliness that had once defined these walls. Some days were harder than others. Memories of Alex and Claire would surge unexpectedly, a phrase, a scent, a shadow. But those moments no longer overwhelmed me. Instead, they were threads in the fabric of my existence, weaving past and present into a tapestry of love that would never unravel. Community ties deepened as well. Old friends returned, neighbors stopped by more frequently, and the house became a gathering place, a sanctuary where stories were shared, wounds were eased, and friendships blossomed. The support reminded me that healing is often found not in solitude but in connection. In quiet evenings on the veranda under the vast canopy of stars, I spoke softly to the memories of those I'd lost. Their presence was a constant, comforting as the gentle night breeze. And as the moonlight bathed the garden, I felt a profound peace, a sense that, despite everything, life's beauty endures. The journey had been long and fraught with pain, but it had also revealed a resilience I never knew I possessed. Love, in all its forms, remained the steady light guiding me forward. And so, with hope in my heart and memories at my side, I continued on, ready to embrace the days ahead, and the stories yet to be written.